Welcome to the story of Brentford Football Club's 1998-99 season. A season that began with the under-new management flags flying at Griffin Park and ended with the coveted champions flag flying. The story begins on a hot summer Saturday. In mid-August, the first match for Ron Nodes in the manager's chair at Griffin Park and the visitors Mansfield. The shape of a new-look Brentford squad also there for the supporters to see for the first time. And a pleasing opening it was too. The man who was to grab the headlines was Kevin Rapley, first to respond when the goalkeeper could only parry 1-0. Into the second half, it continued to be a performance to savour for the Brentford faithful, who had endured the agony of the previous season's relegation. Rapley again first to respond at the help yourself counter to make it 2-0. That with 19 minutes left to play. But Brentford weren't finished. 7 minutes from time, a third goal. Another excellent move. Rapley involved, this time starting it. And Darren Freeman finishing it. Brentford 3, Mansfield 0. Not a bad way to start. And so to the first cup match of the season, an away Worthington Cup tie at First Division West Bromwich Albion. A trip to the Hawthorns was always going to provide a test. West Brom knowing that the pressure was on them to avoid a banana skin. And when they went 2-0 in front, it looked as though it was going to be a forlorn challenge. But right at the end, the match turned. This Kevin Rapley goal, meaning that the second leg gave Brentford a real opportunity of getting amongst the giant killers. The second leg had to wait. First, there was the trip to the Shea for a match against Halifax. The only goal, a disappointing one from the Brentford defence's point of view. And the first defeat of the league season. Takes us to West Brom at home. And one of the best performances of the entire season. Jamie Bates, the inspiration for so many years, got the first goal with 57 minutes on the clock. That levelled the tie, and of course Brentford had that Kevin Rapley away goal from the first leg. Within 2 minutes they were in front. Otway getting the final touch as once again the West Brom defence was found wanting. This time a cross from the left causing the problem. Brentford en route to celebrating a famous victory, secured in the very last minute. Again a break down the left. Referee played the advantage, and Lloyd Owusu, first goal of the season, 3-0, and a famous win. Another Griffin Park victory followed just days later. The kind of ex-certificate own goal that will certainly not sell well in the shops around Brighton. But to make it safe came a second goal after just 18 minutes. This time it was Scott on the end of a good move. The match won effectively with 18 minutes gone. It finished 2-0. And again, the Brighton number 6, the chief culprit. Ron's men were on a roll, and as they went across London to Barnet, the charge towards the top of the table was in full swing. The first goal, scored by Robert Quinn after 8 minutes, was just the stepping stone. The second, after an hour. This time Rowlands the man on the end of it, but Martin absolutely delighted by the contribution of his colleagues to the build-up. And 9 minutes from time, Lloyd Owusu, 3-0, a comprehensive victory in the Battle of the Bees. And another victory was to follow just days later. Rochdale, the visitors, And a goal after just 2 minutes, the perfect start for Darren Powell. But Rochdale certainly put up a lot more fight than some of the other teams had done who visited Griffin Park. And they were level, taking advantage of the bounce favouring them as against the Brentford defence. But the one thing that had become quite clear during Brentford's early season form was the excellent way the team performed as a unit. And Kevin Rapley once again, with 20 minutes from time, was on hand to put Brentford back in front with what turned out to be the winner and took the team into second place at the end of the month. And so to September. Ron Nodes named as manager of the month for August, and his team away at the bottom club Hull, who made a terrible start to the season but was still able to take the lead. Brentford, though, came roaring back. The equaliser scored by that man Owusu once again. 26 minutes gone, 1-1. Into the second half, and look at this move. 5 players involved, great delivery, and Warren Aspinall gets his first of the season. 2-1 Brentford. But from a corner, Hull were to equalise. Jason Piercy couldn't hold it, and the rebound, perhaps for a moment, rocked the Bees. But they were made of sterner stuff. And with 10 minutes from time, Scott was the player who came in as the goalkeeper came out to flap. It was enough to give Brentford a 3-2 win and take them to the top of the table for the first time. From the east coast to the west coast, the trip to Torquay, and just about the perfect start. A goal from Jamie Bates a minute before half-time. How many times has that proved a successful manoeuvre for the big centre-half? But this match was to turn on its head in the second period. Torquay playing some slick football, and the Brentford defence could only look at the linesman as the equaliser in the pouring rain was secured. That roused Torquay to even better things. And even that wasn't the end of the disappointing night in South Devon. Straight through the middle. 3-1 Torquay. The September fixture schedule was looking a very busy one. But it also taught Brentford the reality of what they were doing when Rotherham came to town and went away with 3 points after a convincing 3-0 victory. Maybe, just maybe, the players and supporters were thinking ahead to the big clash against Tottenham the following Tuesday. But Rotherham were good value for this victory, enough to knock Brentford down to 4th place in the table. And so to the great match against Tottenham. Spurs knew that they had a real handful on their plate, and if they had any doubt about it, the first goal scored by Scott just before the half hour illustrated it. There'd been a lot of talk about Tottenham under Christian Gross, how vulnerable they were, and how the strong possibility was that this could be the big upset of the round, especially remembering that West Brom had already been dumped on the Worthington Cup scrap heap by Ron's men. More than 11,000 at Griffin Park. Spurs getting an equaliser. And then from across from the right, more drama. The ball played back in as the Brentford defence could only half clear it. The mistake proving costly. Dominguez making it 2-1 to Tottenham. And these, of course, were away goals. But then Spurs showing that whatever they may be, they are not always Premiership defenders. Darren Freeman, 2-2. Andy Sinton, England international, not one of his best moments. But the final goal from a set piece, Ramon Vega, 3-2. Brentford had played well that night. They had a second leg at White Hart Lane to come, but all that had to go on the back burner. It was the search for league points that took them to Seymour Road, the home of Scarborough, and not a good start. Indeed, one or two people thought that they perhaps left some of their goodwill on the coach as Scarborough made it 2. Just after the hour mark, though, the Scarborough defence got themselves in a mess. And finally, Lloyd Owusu couldn't miss. He was on as substitute. 2-1. But hopes of a fight back and a point were dashed. Not a good day at the office defensively. Referee said penalty. (3-1) Scarborough. And so to White Hart Lane and the return against Tottenham. The start was the sort that dreams are made of. The Spurs defence stayed off a yard and Scott got in the back door. An away goal and a tie equaling goal. Andy Scott, 3-3 on aggregate. Tottenham's confidence was known to be low, and the question was, how would they respond to such an early setback? That was the answer. The follow-up finally putting the ball away. Into the second half, more pressure from Tottenham. Sol Campbell had stayed forward. And the third Spurs goal looked to have ended the whole match as a tie. Chris Armstrong, headband and all, the man that provided it. But Brentford would not lie down. Lloyd Owusu scoring one of his personal highlights of the season. Brentford had scored twice against the Premiership side. More than 35,000 had watched the two legs. More than 35,000 had been impressed with Ron's men. But they needed to get points in the bank. The run of defeats was beginning to just get a little bit alarming. The match against Darlington featured the debut of Herman Fridayson after his big money move from Crystal Palace. The first goal was scored by Powell. The second, that absolute rocket from Martin Rowlands. No goalkeeper could have got anywhere near that. And into the second half, the third goal, guess who? Lloyd Owusu. The disappointing run ended in style, and next to one of the best games. Barry Fry's sides always attack. They can always be relied upon to do that. And the clash with another of the pre-season promotion favourites was a real game to savour. On the stroke of half-time, Darren Freeman makes it 1-1. Peterborough back in front. All that did, though, was to lift Brentford again. 3 goals in 6 minutes, starting just a quarter of an hour from the end, proved decisive. Andy Scott once again providing the first of them. That levelled the match at 2-2. But a particularly memorable moment for Tony Folan. How about that from an acute angle? His Football League debut crowned with a goal of the highest quality to put Brentford in front and stun the Posh. They led 3-2 with that wonderful strike. Within 3 minutes, Andy Scott had made it 4. A hugely impressive 3 points for Ron's men and second place in the table. After a fortnight's break with an international call-up series, meaning that 1 game was postponed, Hartlepool came to Griffin Park, and further signs that Brentford were a team that could be very free scoring. Following on from the first goal from Freeman, the second came from this penalty. Referee had no doubt, and Warren Aspinall was to step up, 27 minutes gone, to double the advantage. Five minutes into the second half, number 3. Martin Rowlands, again from distance, again with power. Brentford back on top for the first time since early September, although they did concede to this Hartlepool effort. 3-1 at full time. And another home game 3 days later. Scunthorpe, another well-fancied side in the promotion stakes, and Scunthorpe taking the lead. Midway through the second half, Brentford were level. Warren Aspinall's effort was fingertipped onto the bar by the goalkeeper. Andy Scott was first to react to make it 1-1. And the points and consolidation of first place came 10 minutes later. Lloyd Owusu once more. 3 matches, 3 wins in October. Brentford on top of the pile. The trip to Plymouth, though, was to be an anti-climax. 3 goals, not a good day at the office. 2 of them deflected. But the Pilgrims got the points, as did Shrewsbury Town the following Saturday. An illustration to the players of the ups and downs and the need for consistency. 2 games in 5 days, 5 goals conceded, none scored. Shrewsbury's second goal, condemning them to their second consecutive defeat and 6th place in the table. And so back home to Griffin Park. Business as usual. The first goal from Lloyd Owusu on what was to become a very special night for him. There was a great determination that was a real joy to watch about this Brentford performance. And Owusu, perhaps with a spot of good fortune, taking advantage of a poor goalkeeping clearance to make it 2. Southend were really struggling. Darren Freeman made it 3 just before the hour. But look at the quality of the cross, which enabled him to escape at the far post and put it past the goalkeeper. Southend got one back, but Brentford were never in any danger. And there was time for a very special moment for Lloyd Owusu. He went home with the match ball, his first league hat-trick. Brentford 4, Southend 1. Against Camberley in the FA Cup, there was never any real doubt once Jamie Bates had opened the scoring on the half hour. Robert Quinn added the second 3 minutes before half-time. And then it was the new boys' show in the second half. Play on, said the referee. Tony Folan picked his spot. Off the bar this time by Folan. Herman Ryderson, his first goal in a Brentford shirt, made it 4. And Folan completed the rout. 5-0, Oldham in round 2. And to another London derby. And a wonderful strike to get the show on the road, this time from Tony Folan again. 21 minutes, acute angle, keeper embarrassed at near post. But Leyton Orient had also strung together some good runs. Referee took his time, eventually ruling a penalty to Orient and the equaliser. Orient went on to win the game. A header from a free kick. 2-1 to the East End boys. Gavin Marnes, signed from Hereford, had made his debut in that match, and he made his home debut against Chester City. And once again, it was that man, Owusu. 20 minutes gone, Brentford in front. Into the second half, a lovely move involving several players. Martin Rowlands taking advantage of the centre half, standing at ease when he should have been at attention, to making it 2. Chester converted 1 with that late effort from a header from a corner. Brentford had the points, but stayed in 7th place in the table. Next, FA Cup action. FA Cup penalty. Darren Freeman, 1-0 at Oldham Athletic. Into the second half, and Oldham getting an equaliser. Ironically, once more from the penalty spot. Ironically, that is, in view of what was to happen in the replay at Griffin Park. But the story of that must wait. Plymouth, the visitors in the auto windscreen shield. And Herman Ryderson, the first man on the score sheet. The 2 goals in this match came either side of half-time. Martin Rowlands got the second. Into round 2. The trip to Exeter is a long one. It doesn't seem so far coming back if you've got the points. Just ask Lloyd Owusu. He got the only goal. And so to unfinished business against Oldham Athletic. By now the two teams knew the prize could hardly have been richer. A third round tie with the Glamour Boys of Chelsea. Owusu getting the first goal. But Oldham taking advantage of Jason Piercy coming off his line. Equalised. There had to be a winner on what was always going to be a tense Griffin Park night. Alan Wilkie decides Jamie Bates has to go for that challenge, ruling it a professional foul. A man down, yes, but Brentford certainly showing tremendous spirit. Darren Freeman again on the end of another good move, which the goalkeeper could only parry. The right place at the right time. A striker's story. Seen from this angle. Again, the keeper did well, but Freeman the first to follow up. Oldham, though, tied the match up at 2-2. Extra time couldn't divide them. So to penalties. Could Kevin Dearden emerge as the hero? Rowlands miss. The pressure on. Dearden needed to produce some magic. And did so. Brentford back in it. Robert Quinn hit the bar. There was to be no second chance. Oldham were through. For Brentford, it was now all about the league. And so to one of the best games of the season. Cambridge had been the surprise packet. And Brentford knew that they'd have to be at their best if they were to go and get the 3 points that they needed to consolidate their position in the promotion stakes. How about that from Tony Folan? Did he mean it? Of course he did. Embarrassed of Cambridge, could do nothing. The best Christmas present possible in the last game before the festive season. And so to Boxing Day and Brighton and Hove Albion at the Priestfield Stadium. Brighton was sharper, and the Brentford defence suddenly found they'd leaked too. An hour gone, may be the chance to turn it, as the bounce favoured Darren Freeman, who made it 2-1. Was that the cue for a charge for a point? The answer, no it wasn't. From a set piece. Brighton 3, Brentford 1. Another side chasing promotion, Cardiff City visiting Griffin Park just 48 hours later. Just one goal enough. Herman Hreiderson, the man that got it. And the New Year fixture, another home one against Barnet. This another 3 points to start the new year. Darren Freeman getting the first. The second, a really excellent header by Bryant from an inch-perfect Anderson cross. On a desperately heavy pitch, the third goal from Gavin Mahon, his first in a Brentford shirt. The double over the other Bees, quite safe and quite secure, despite the late consolation from Ken Charlery. Although the league was the main aim, the thought of getting to Wembley by the Auto Windscreen Shield was still very much uppermost in the mind. And an excellent performance at Wycombe, first Leo Fortune West, followed by Andy Scott, followed by Robert Quinn, followed by Andy Scott again, destroyed Wycombe. They were struggling at the wrong end of the second division. That did nothing to help them. Their late goal, a consolation and no more from Keith Ryan. Brentford in the next round, before which came the visit to Mansfield. Not one of Kevin Dearden's proudest moments. Mansfield taking the lead. They were out to avenge their defeat on the opening game of the season. And again, the ball bounced in their favour for the second goal. Brentford comes charging back with one, though, through Lloyd Owusu. That virtually the last kick of the first half. In the second half, the only goal went the way of the Stags. Brentford stayed second, despite the defeat. And so to the match against Walsall. Pressure on a desperate surface, but no goals. Penalties again. And for the Brentford faithful, a sense of déjà vu. This was to be Kevin Dearden's last match in a Brentford shirt. There was nothing he could do to stop Walsall reaching the next round. And so to Rochdale. And another away day that will not live long in the memory. A 2-0 defeat. Fourth place in the table. And not the ideal start for Brentford's new goalkeeper, Andy Woodman. But Woodman, whose outstanding pedigree and form for Northampton had impressed so many people, has to prove to be a very shrewd signing indeed. He had no chance though, as Cardiff City cut loose in front of more than 11,000 at Ninian Park. They'd steamrolled many teams during the course of the season in front of their home fans, and Ron's men were simply added to the list. 2 up at half-time. Cardiff played with the kind of confidence that had been so often seen by Brentford when they had opponents on the rack. The only memorable moment, this, Danny Boxall, but it was to be nothing more than consolation. Although enjoy again the quality of the strike from that angle. Brentford had ended December with a famous victory against league leaders Cardiff City at Griffin Park. A month later, the tables were well and truly turned. Although one has to say, the Brentford defence helped them along the way. Three home games followed. The first of them against Carlisle United produced Brentford's first draw of the season in the league, that in the 27th game. And indeed, Carlisle scored both goals. Hull City were the visitors the following Saturday. By now, they've started to get their act together. Their position had seemed hopeless in mid-November. This was just one of a series of notable results for Hull City as they went up the table. The third game against Torquay was an absolute thriller. Lloyd Owusu opened the scoring after 20 minutes. But head tennis this time was game, set and match to Torquay. The equaliser before half-time. Brian putting Brentford back in front in the second half. But take a close look at the Torquay number 10. Scott Partridge. Penalty saved by Andy Woodman. A crucial moment for both. Partridge was to sign for Brentford less than a week later. And Woodman's penalty save was to be the springboard for a vital 3 points for Ron's side. There was nothing Woodman can do about the equaliser. But with time running out, Herman Ryderson arrives. The Iceman cometh, bearing 3 points. And Herman Ryderson again was to be on target in the rearranged game against Swansea City at the Vetch Field. But the big disappointment is that it was a consolation goal, which meant that Brentford were to end their trip to West Wales in 4th place in the table. Ryderson's goal, no match for Swansea, buoyed by their success in the FA Cup. Swansea won by 2-1. Another away day followed in Yorkshire. Gavin Mahon getting the first goal. And this was to be a really memorable afternoon at Millmoor, as Brentford cut loose, playing some really good football as well. Lloyd Owusu made it 2. With new signing Scott Partridge on the bench, the forwards knew they needed to deliver. Against a Rotherham side with an excellent home record. But every time Brentford went forward, you fancied that they would cause real problems. 3-1 came before half-time. Lloyd Owusu again, his second of the afternoon. No chance for Woodman. A quality free kick made it 3-2. But Brentford and Mr. Owusu were not finished. If at first you don't succeed, take the match ball home, 4-2. Scarborough had turned into something of the bogey side. Having beaten the Bees at Seymour Road, they took the lead at Griffin Park. But in the second half, Brentford got themselves an equalising goal. Not the cleanest hit shot, but equally effective from Derek Bryan. 4 home games on the spin, the second of them against Peterborough United. 3rd place in the table going in. And Scott Partridge's first goal after 11 minutes sent Brentford on their way to the double against Barry Fry's Posh. The second, deflected, goes down to Gavin Mahon. The third, Lloyd Owusu, who else? Two more home games followed, but they were to yield a pair of draws. The first, a goalless one against Shrewsbury. The second, a 1-1 against Halifax Town. The most memorable moment, a splendid Scott Partridge goal. Look at the close control, makes himself the opportunity. Goalkeeper, no chance. But Brentford undone by initially one of the longest throws you'll see. Halifax had a point. And so to two of, if not the two, longest away trips of the season. First to Brunton Park. Carlisle United down amongst the strugglers at the foot of the table. And Scott Partridge, whose goal has been enough to give Brentford 1 point in the previous game, this time secured all 3 with the game's only goal. Lloyd Owusu did the same against Hartlepool. A match memorable this for other reasons. And Owusu involved again against Plymouth Argyle in the Easter home game. Plymouth had won 3-0 at Home Park. Brentford wanted revenge. What a time for Paul Evans to score his first goal for the club. Gavin Mahon got the second. Plymouth got one back. But Tony Boland was in the right place at the right time to make sure of the 3 points. Brentford stayed third. It was run-in time. A very useful point at Scunthorpe followed. Not many teams succeed in getting points against the Iron at Glanford Park. That save out of the top draw from Andy Woodman. And the Scunthorpe keeper too, in on the act. Next, the Diva Stadium, Chester. And those who arrived late missed a lot of the fun. Ija Anderson, 2 minutes. What a time to score your first goal of the season. 2 minutes later, pick that one out, Mr. Goalkeeper. A wonderful Paul Evans strike. Chester in disbelief. The spot of handball, spotted by the referee. Chester back in it at 2-1. Any doubt, though, in the very last minute was removed. Derek Bryan, the man that gets the touch. 3-1. Brentford not only promotion odds on, but major title contenders. Leyton Orient had also crept towards the playoffs on the back of some very good defensive performances. And there was no way that Brentford could find past their back line for all their pressure. As they travelled to Southend, the fixture at Griffin Park had ended 4-1. Lloyd Owusu set out in search of a repeat. He'd scored 3 that November afternoon. Early in the second half, he was 2/3 of the way to an encore. More Brentford pressure, another excellent performance. Scott Partridge, keeper beaten at near post. Could Owusu repeat the feat? A stunning answer. Another hat-trick, his second against the men from Roots Hall. 4-0. Southend got one late consolation. But that was all it was. Four games to go. Darlington away. Honours even. Andy Scott, virtually the stroke of half-time. Scott Partridge, 2-1. But Darlington grabbed a late equaliser. 3 games to go. And 3 wins would take Brentford not only up a division, but also to the title. Robert Quinn opened the scoring. Against Exeter City. Good work by Partridge. Final touch by Andy Scott. 2-0. And then Woodman's long kick. Partridge himself made it 3. The dream was coming significantly closer to reality.
You've done extremely well this season, and Brentford have come a long way since you undertook the role of manager, as well as actually running the club. How difficult has that been for you?
Well, it's been easy because Ray and Terry and Spadge, they've done the hard graft, and I've almost been able to delegate, and I've been able to go and do what business I've had to do, knowing that we were well organised in everything that we did, both on the pitch and off the pitch.
As you said, next Saturday it's going to be quite tough for you. You're playing Cambridge away. They're obviously going to want to maintain their top position.
Yeah, but we got nothing to lose because we've now won promotion. We've done as much as we need to do. They're at home, and I think we got the best side in the league.
How do you think that Brentford will tackle Division 2?
We'll kick off at the same time as everybody else.
Do you think you'll be hanging on to all your key players next year?
Well, the good thing with Ron is that he's got the financial clout to say no to clubs who come in to try to take the players. I mean, sometimes there may be a case where we have to sell, because I don't think Ron will just throw money at it all the time. But he has got probably more money than the average chairman, and I think that if he feels that we should be keeping the player, then he won't be sold because of financial reasons. So I think there'll be a lot of clubs having a look at our players this year. They've really improved. But hopefully we can keep hold of most of them.
Right, lastly, do you think Brentford can gain 6 points in their last 2 games, one against Swansea and the other against league toppers Cambridge?
Well, I think if we win here Tuesday against Swansea, we actually go top of the league, which immediately puts the pressure on Cambridge, who also play Swansea on Thursday, which means they get a result. It will probably boil down, or hopefully will boil down, to the last game of the season. You couldn't write a script. And it will be a hell of a match. I actually think we could go there and win the championship. I think if we have to go there to get 3 points to win, I think we will win.
First, though, there was Swansea, and it was a performance to savour that Ron's men turned on for their last home game of the season. Owusu, who else? 24 of the season for him. Then a wonderful strike from Paul Evans. Swansea had been the last team to beat Brentford. They knew their fate long before the end of this one. Hariderson got the third. It was carnival time at Griffin Park. And the fourth goal. Cool as you like. Scott Partridge, another good signing. Swansea held the key to the destination of the title. As Ray Lewington said, 2 days after this, as Swansea got a late consolation, they had to play Cambridge. They beat Cambridge. So it was winner takes all on the final day. And who else but Lloyd Owusu, 25th goal of the season, to put Cambridge 1 down and Brentford on the brink. Great scenes at the Abbey Stadium at the final whistle. Griffin Park was the home of the champions. A great triumph for Ron Nodes, Ray Lewington and the players. What a contrast from 12 months ago. More than 20 players had found their way onto the Brentford score sheet. The flag said it all. In 1992, Brentford had won the title at London Road. This time they'd won it some 15 miles south. But it had to come home for celebrations. Brentford had stung the division and could look forward to returning to Division 2 in great heart and with great optimism.
Well, it's been a big season for you, 25 goals, but the big story is obviously the hat-tricks you got. The first one, of course, against Southend here at Griffin Park.
Yeah, I mean, that was brilliant. I mean, when I was at Slough last season, I scored 4 on my debut against Telford, but to come into a professional game and to score a hat-trick, it's a fairy tale. I mean, obviously, things just went from strength to strength from there.
We went to Rotherham United, which is a very big game for Brentford, and that's the start of our 16-match unbeaten run, and of course 3 goals there.
Yeah, like you said, another great performance by the lads, especially. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it without the boys. I mean, we got to Rotherham, we knew that we had to win the game, and we started off really well. And then we saw, I mean, during the course of the game, we saw that there were chances for us to score goals, and obviously we took those chances. And again, I bagged in another hat-trick, which is another dream come true.
And now, of course, we come to the end of the season, you've actually been selected for the Republic of Ireland under 21s.
Yeah, I've been selected for Republic of Ireland now. I'm going to go on the next few days. I'm off to Ireland to play for them. They got 4 games in 2 weeks, so that's also another great honour for myself. And it's just nice that people think so highly of me and that I've done so well.
Would you expected 12 months ago to have been in this sort of position with international?
No, 12 months ago I was working in painting and decorating, and a year on I've had a great season at Brentford. We've won the league. I've been picked for Ireland as an under-21 international, so I couldn't have wished for nothing more.
Apart from the championship, you had another big thing to celebrate at the end of the season, the Player of the Year trophy. That meant something to you, didn't it?
Oh, it did. I didn't even think I was, up there really, till a few people said, yeah, I think it could be you, But, I think that tops it up for me, to come here on my first season and win Supporters Player of the Year is tremendous for me,
Whilst everybody's pleased, obviously, about going up, it must have been the icing on the cake championship.
Yeah, obviously the first thing for us to do was to get promoted, and to do that against Exeter was superb. But from the moment we got promoted, everyone was in the dressing room, right, let's go for the championship. There was no thoughts of sitting back and just settling for second or third. We wanted the top place, and we went to Cambridge and we proved we're the best team in the division.
For each fan, a particular memory.